Hello, English 2 students. I hope you are all well. I miss seeing you guys every day, but please do not hesitate to reach out via email or stop by my office hours to check in, whether it's with questions or just to say hello. I'd love to see your faces. Um, I know it's been a while since we've dived into Lord of the Flies, so I'm going to give a little crash course review for you. You should have read through chapter 6 at this point. So we're going to go a little bit over the author is William Golding and kind of his key themes. And I got a couple quotes that kind of help explain that further. Golding, the author's main purpose in writing this novel is to touch on humanity's inherent evil, and I think we've seen that through characters Jack, who's more that innate badness that we have in ourselves. And then we have Ralph that really wants to do the right thing for everyone and himself. He uses, Golding, the author, uses his experience as a British prep school teacher and a soldier to influence his writing. The setting is on a deserted island during a nuclear war where the boys' plane gets shot down, and they are the only ones on the island with no adult supervision. So Golding states, and this sums up the major theme of the novel, and we're really going to see it develop in the latter end of this novel. The dangers aren't external, they are internal. There aren't any savages to fight, just savagery that apparently dwells within us, each of us. Simon also alludes to it in chapter 6 or chapter 5 when referencing the beast. Okay, so let's just recap chapter 5. That was right before we left for spring break. Just going to review a little bit on some of the key events. So chapter 5, Ralph calls a meeting to regain order. He explains that the meeting is about setting things straight, not for fun. He's really frustrated because he's implemented rules and there's a plan and the boys are not following. He points out that all the things they said they do, referring to the little ones and the big ones, but didn't. They're supposed to store water, build shelters, keep the signal fire going. He says the fire is the most important thing on the island. Simon takes the conch. He says maybe the boys themselves are the beast. That's referencing a major theme of this novel. He says maybe the boys themselves are the beast, that we have some innate badness, I guess, that we will turn on each other, or we'll see how Jack tries to revolt against Ralph. Piggy thinks this idea is crazy. Many of the boys think Simon saying the beast is a ghost. Ralph holds a vote on whether the boys believe in ghosts. A majority raises their hand. Okay, so there's that sense of fear. The beast doesn't really exist. It's internal for sure. It's internal fear that's kind of playing with their minds a little bit. Piggy grabs the conch as well in chapter 5 and shouts that ghosts don't exist. He asks the boys if they're humans or savages, which is really profound. Okay, Piggy, we know he is the intellect and the mastermind behind it all. Ralph doesn't have his own thoughts really. He listens to Piggy and Piggy advises him. So Piggy says, he asks the boys if they're humans or savages. Golding is suggesting that all of the above, that we're all both. We all have those two different sides. So Piggy mentions the hunters letting the fire go out. Jack fiercely rips the conch from him. Ralph accuses Jack of breaking the rules. Jack questions Ralph's leadership. He says he doesn't care about the rules, that he'll hunt the beast and kill it. And he starts to chant on the beach. Everyone but Ralph, Piggy, and Simon join in. They all those three wish adults were around to make everything better. Ralph wishes the adults would at least send them a sign. And that leads into chapter 6, okay? Chapter 6, there is a sign from the adult world in Ralph's mind, okay? So the night, airplanes battle in the night sky, high and far enough away that none of the boys wake. A dead pilot from one of the destroyed planes drifts down on a parachute and lands on the mountaintop next to the signal fire. So the big note for this is a sign from the adult world that has arrived that Ralph alluded to. But it's a dead soldier signaling that adult civilization also hides savagery within it. So that savagery, internal, innate kind of badness is the overarching theme, okay? Sam and Eric are on fire duty. on the mountaintop. Remember, Sam and Eric are identical twins, brothers, okay? And Golding gave them, Sam and Eric blended their name, just say that they're basically identical one person, okay? So they're on fire duty on the mountaintop, but they're asleep. When they wake, they see the dead pilot in the shadows. The wind catches the parachute and they think it's wings. They are terrified and run to the beach to tell the others. They think the beast chased them down the mountain. So the sign from the adult world is the beast or the parachute. Man, the beast has put out the signal fire, which is the boys' last link to civilization, okay? Ralph calls a meeting. Jack questions Ralph's decisions and leadership, mocks Piggy, and claims the conch no longer matters. It appears that Jack might take over leadership of the boys, but Ralph wins everyone over by asking if they want to be rescued or not. So Ralph regains kind of the order and his leadership by saying, what's our intent here? Because Jack just wants to hunt and be free. Ralph really understands that they need to be rescued and they need to have that signal fire, and not having the signal fire is not going to allow them to be rescued. The beast makes the boys crave a strong leader, giving Jack more weight. At the same time, most of the boys still favor rescue and civilization order over savagery, so they still take Ralph's side, even though they view Jack as a strong leader because he hunts and can kill the beast, but also he understands that Ralph has the knowledge and strategy and Piggy on his side to help them get rescued, okay? So then Ralph and the Biggins agree to search the island. They're going to try and find the beast. Piggy stays to look after the little ones, so Piggy stays back. At the far tip of the island, the Biggins find a rock formation that Jack calls the castle, and that's where they think the beast lives. They think it may be his hideout. Ralph, as the leader, volunteers to search it, and Jack follows behind him. So they both go up to the castle, so to speak, looking for the beast. So make note that Jack follows Ralph to appear strong and undaunted in the eyes of the other boys, okay? He can't allow Ralph to upstage him, meaning show him up, because Jack has an ego, and thereby appear to be more courageous and deserving leader. Okay, so Ralph and Jack go. Jack follows Ralph. Okay, so transitioning into a couple things I want to talk about. Foreshadowing. Okay. So we've talked a lot about this in English class, right? So the biggest example that I use, and you've heard me talk about, Of Mice and Men. I know you guys love that book. Steinbeck uses a ton of foreshadowing. In order to build suspense and make a strong story more interesting, writers like Golding and like Steinbeck often use a technique known as foreshadowing. Hints or clues of events to occur later in the plot. When an author gives these hints and clues, we can make a prediction or an educated guess as to what will happen next. Okay, so I'm going to go through the comprehension question down below with a foreshadowing chart. I'm going to go through the examples of foreshadowing, those quotes, but then also what does that allude to? What's the prediction that we can make from those little hints and clues that the author gives us? So the first one, course there isn't a beast in the forest. How could there be? What would a beast eat? Pig? We eat pig. So some of the boys are beginning to see Piggy as a weaker being. Okay, someone they can pick on and would not miss if he were eliminated. So are they planning to eliminate Piggy? Maybe they plan to eat him. That's kind of a hint or foreshadowing potentially that could happen later in the story, okay? The next one, you don't mean that we got to be frightened all the time of nothing unless we get frightened of people, says Piggy. Simon says, maybe there is a beast. Maybe there is a beast. Maybe it's only us. So again, Simon is hinting the beast doesn't exist. It is within, it's internal. So that we can see that maybe this is going to allude to the innate badness that people have is going to flip and turn on the boys, okay? The next one, if I blow the conch and they don't come back, then we've had it. We shan't keep the fire going. We'll be like animals. We'll never be rescued. If you don't blow, we'll soon be animals anyway. So the conch is that symbolism of democracy and order. This is hinting if they don't blow, we'll soon become animals, that maybe they are eventually, to see the order and the democracy kind of dwindling and shattering at times, that more oftentimes than not, that maybe they are going to become animals. Okay, so little hints that the author's giving. However, Simon thought of the beast. There rose before his inward sight the picture of a human at once heroic and sick. So Simon's envisioning what the beast looks like in his head, okay? And he's hinting that the beast is internal, it's made up in our minds, or it's two-sided, where we see this, we have good versus evil, right? You got the heroic good that we see in Ralph, okay? And then you got the sick or like the evil, and then we see that in Jack, okay? So then they're up on the mountain, that very tip overlooking the island. So a knot of boys, making a great noise that he had not noticed, were heaving and pushing at a rock. As he turned, the base cracked and the whole mass toppled into the sea. Okay, that's symbolic and foreshadowing that chaos and social order are slowly crumbling. Okay. So that's kind of a synopsis of chapter 6. If you have any questions, honestly, just please reach out via email or Google Classroom. The quiz will be posted to complete by Wednesday at 10 p.m. So you can do that, whatever works best for you. Again, would love to see you guys. So stop by sometime in my office hours just to say hi. Don't have to be there for the whole hour, just maybe a couple minutes, just to check in and make sure you guys are good. Okay. That's it for now. Have a great day, and I will be in touch soon. All right. Bye.